that we just learned and actually build out a snowman that's been provided in Google Classroom. We're going to go ahead and start. So first thing we want to do is create the UV sphere. So I'm going to go ahead and click X and delete. And I'm going to make sure we could see my hotspot key. So right on the bottom will give you the instructions. So the first thing we want to do is go to add mesh, and we're going to add a UV sphere. There it is. Now the UV sphere came in pretty good, and we're going to go ahead and make sure it's nice and smooth. So what I'm going to do is right click and go to shade smooth. So that gives a nice smooth look. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and press 1 in the keypad so I get a front view. Now I'm going to duplicate this. To duplicate, we can do right click. You can duplicate here. Okay, so it's actually duplicated. Now we want to move this to on the Z axis. I'm going to press Z. I'm going to slide it up. Okay, right there looks about good. And I'm going to scale it in one time. So I'm going to press S and scale it nice and small. Okay, then I'm going to duplicate it again. So to duplicate, we can actually go to object and duplicate object also. Undo. So move it on the Z. Once you duplicate, let's do it again. Right click, duplicate object, press your Z so that it moves on the same axis. Okay, on the Z axis. Then I'm gonna left click to lock it in, and then I'm gonna scale it in by pressing the S and pull it in nice. So now we have the head. Okay, so now let's take a look and see what we have. If we look at it from a 3 perspective, if we look at it from the top perspective, frontal, 3, and top. So 1, 3, and 7 are the key viewing position that we're going to currently use in designing this piece. Okay, so so we got our 3 box. Let's move on to the eyes. So to create the eyes, I'm going to go and put this. Let's press 1 so we can see it. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the UV sphere. Okay, so let's go ahead and add sphere. Let's do that. Okay, and we're gonna move it out. Let's move it up. I'm gonna move it up on let's scale it first. Nice and small, and let's go ahead and move it up. And let's press G. Let's move that to the side. Let's press G and grab. G allows you to grab it and move it up. Let's press Z, move G, and let's move this back into position. Perfect. Good. So now let's click on the eye, and we're going to move the eye up a little bit. So I'm going to click on the move tool, and bring this up a little bit more. And I'm going to zoom in by rolling so I can see what's happening. Let's pull this over in a little bit. Now let's look at the position. 3. Let's look at what 7 looks like. So as you see from the top view, it's best to work it from the top. So I'm going to move this over, push it in, get the eyes right in there. And I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this eye, this object, and I'm going to position it over here. So I just moved it to the next side. Okay, so now let's take a look from 1. Looks good. Let's look at 3. Not bad. We still can move things over, so I'm going to click on that, hold shift, So now we have 2. There it is. And I'm going to move both of them. See how you can just grab it and move it? So we're going to move it so it's centered right in the center. Okay. You could always position one if you want to play around with it some more. Okay. So now the next thing we want to do is look at it from your different angles again. That looks good. Let's look at it from a 3. And let's look at it from a 7. Perfect. So we got the eyes in there. So the next thing we want to do is just add the nose. So to add the nose, I'm going to do it from a bird's eye view. Matter of fact, let's go from a profile view. So we're going to hit add, mesh, and let's add a cone. Okay, let's go ahead and move the cone out. Okay, let's rotate it up. And I'm going to go ahead and scale this by pressing S. Okay, and let's rotate. So I'm going to press R. We're going to go ahead and rotate this. Okay, let's position it up. Bring it in. Let's press 3. See what it looks like. Still big, so we're going to use what? S to scale. Bring it into small. Okay, and I'm going to let's go ahead and scale it S and Z. So we scale it on the Z axis. So we can give it a little white bit. Okay, I'm going to press S, bring it in smaller some more. And then let's look at it from a side view. See how far it is. It looked like it was on there, but it's not. So let's bring it in. But now, perfect. It's right in there. So let's see what 3 looks like. I'm probably going to bring it down some more. And I want to rotate it. So I'm going to press R. I want to rotate. Perfect. Okay. Now let's see what a 1 looks like. Looks good. Let's see what 3 looks like. And let's see what a 7 looks like. Okay, good. So let's go back to a 1. So now the next thing we want to do is add a hat. And remember, you have this guide tutorial that you can use. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add, mesh, and we're going to add a cylinder. Where is that? Right here. Now when the cylinder comes in, it's asking us to add more vertices. Vertices are these lines. So I'm going to go ahead down to the bottom, and I'm going to make that 64. 64 and hit enter. See, it gave us a lot more vertices to play with, so it's a much smoother transition. So once we have the vertices, I'm going to press S, Z to scale it down so we can get a brim of the hat. That looks about good right there. Then I'm going to press S to scale it in smaller. I'm going to press G, allows me to grab it and move it up to the top. Now, first thing we want to do, remember we're looking from different angles. Always look, see how that looks good. Let's see what it looks like 7. See, on the top view is not aligned, so we just center it. Then we go back to pressing 3. Looks pretty centered. Good. All right, so let's go back on here. I think I'm going to make it a little smaller, so I'm going to press S. Perfect. Now, we got that brim, so let's go ahead and add the top. Same thing we can do. We can do 2 things. We can actually duplicate this and scale it in and scale it up. So let's do that. That's the easy fix. Duplicate this object. Okay. Position it right here. I'm going to scale on the Z, so I'm going to pull it up. Scale on the Z. Then I want to move it up, so let's press the hands. So we're gonna go ahead and move this. We can do. I'm gonna go ahead and press the G button, the G on the keyboard, and I can then move it around. Make sure it overlaps. Now, how do we scale it? We just press S, bring it in small. press G, allow you to grab it. It's a quick way to work. Okay, gotta press G, and then there it is. Position that. Now it looks great here, but let's see what it looks like from the different angles. Yep, we can probably move it up just a tad bit. Move it in here so it's perfect from a bird's eye view. Let's look at a 3. Good. Let's look at a 1. Not bad. Not bad. All right, so there you have it. You have your actual snowman. Let's see what it looks like from bird's eye view, from the frontal view. Okay. What else can you add to this? I'm gonna see if you can be creative and explore and keep adding. Maybe arms. Maybe you want to add trees. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop here. Maybe you want to add a mount of arms, trees, mountains. All right. Using the same procedure, you can always draw and add more elements. I'm gonna stop here. Okay. Use this time to continue working. Remember, you have to upload your finished product today by the end of class.